Well, hello and welcome to ScreenHour with me, Mikey.
And with me, Kieran.
And this week's episode is going to be a film episode and a current new release we've watched, which is Bullet Train. As usual, we go through our initial thoughts and our likes and dislikes, and a quick plot summary without spoiling it too much. But first things off the bat, I enjoyed it, but I expected a little bit more. But I don't know what I expected also.
Yeah, I went in watching it and I didn't know what to expect whatsoever. I saw the trailer, like the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, that looks interesting. But then I started seeing the trailer like advertised a lot more, like here, there, and everywhere. And the more I saw the trailer, the more I was like, I'm not sure about this film now, sort of thing. But after seeing it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Because I know, like, when I came out, I messaged you saying, oh, like, you'll really enjoy this film, Mikey. And then you came out going, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't great. It wasn't amazing. And I thought, well, I didn't think it was amazing, but I didn't think it was shit. I really enjoyed it. You know, that I would actually recommend people to see it.
Yeah, I'd definitely recommend it. Don't get me wrong. But it's not the best film I've seen this year, and it's not the best action film I've seen. It reminded me of Guy Ritchie wanted to do an action film. That's what it was. I know Guy Ritchie never directed it. I think his name was Koji Leitch, and he apparently, I read up on it or listened to an interview, and he started off as being Brad Pitt's stunt double apparently.
Yeah, he did in Fight Club.
In Fight Club, yeah. But I think he directed Deadpool 2 maybe.
Yeah.
He's directed a few good different action films. I don't know. I think the martial arts and the fighting action could have been so much better. I think it clings on Brad Pitt being the star and him being charming, and I think what it does really well is Brad Pitt being goofy, even though he can't be goofy because he's Brad Pitt, because he's unbelievably charming and funny.
Yeah, I see your point, but I do feel that that's where Brad feels at his prime. I feel that's where Brad feels he's most comfortable when he's acting. You know, he's that sort of...
I'm not saying he's bad at that. I'm saying that's one of the best things about it.
Yeah. Because to me, I feel like his performance in Once Upon a Time is one of his best performances ever. But I feel like his performance in this, his character sort of goof sort of traits, where he's very sort of sure of himself, but there's also sort of something, he's a bit more reserved. I just said that his two characters, Cliff Booth and, what was he called in this? Ladybug, yeah. I feel like the two characters are very sort of similar in a way, right? And I'd also argue his character in Mr. and Mrs. Smith is quite similar as well. They're very, very, very capable, but they're also sort of reserved.
I have a huge soft spot for Mr. and Mrs. Smith because it came out 2005 when we were kids, and it was one of the action films I remember watching with my dad, and just thinking this is absolutely boss. It's chaotic, and going through puberty and seeing Angelina Jolie, and that is unbelievable. Unbelievable, Jeff Ferris. I tell you what, my favourite, and I not to promote not even a rival podcast because they're huge and I love listening to them. Is the Empire Film Podcast. They had an interview with Aaron Johnson Taylor and Bright T. Henry. And they were Chris, the host on that podcast, was saying how they was interviewing him, saying he's the heart. They're the heart of the TV, the film. Sorry.
Yeah, they are. The twins are 100% the heart of the TV show. The TV show, the film.
And I 100% believe that. And that's not spoilers at all, really. But they are. No. They're entertaining.
I mean, you can sort of gather that from the trailer. To be fair.
Yeah, they are so entertaining. And the Thomas the Tank thing, I thought at first was goofy, but as the film goes on, you grow to love it.
See, now I thought differently. The Thomas the Tank Engine bit, the first scene where they start talking about Thomas the Tank Engine to Logan Lerman, who's in the hoodie, when they're talking to him about Thomas the Tank Engine, I was hanging on every word because everything he's saying was so true about Thomas the Tank Engine. Because when I was a kid, Thomas the Tank Engine was my favourite show ever. It was Thomas the Tank Engine, and when I was a bit older, it was Scooby-Doo. But Thomas the Tank Engine, I absolutely adored. I loved it. And when he was rolling off, or when is it Lemon? When he's going through all the different tank engines, right? And then he goes, "But do you know which one you are?" I said he's a Percy, and then he goes, "You're a Percy, you are, mate." And I was literally like, "Oh, I know my tank engines."
I loved. And like, you could say it wasn't a little thing, but I think it's because he done it so well. As Brighty Henry's like British accent.
Yeah, that really confused me. That did, because I was like, "Wait, this guy's not British, is he?"
The only other thing I've seen him in, but this is the main thing he's in, is Atlanta, and I really like Atlanta. I think Atlanta's like hilarious and it's good sort of commentary, and it's like quite fucked up.
You mentioned it as one of your moments of the week as well, at one point.
But he's Paperboy in that. He's one of the main characters, and his British accent is absolute gold. And they're like Aaron Johnson Taylor and Bryce Henry's like chemistry in it.
It's
Great.
superb.
Like we said, they are the heart of the film. They're the emotional crux, really. Because I mean, as great as Brad is, without them, the film would be shit.
Yeah, exactly.
No shadow of a doubt.
Every scene they're in is one of the best scenes.
Yeah. To be honest, I think every single actor, was on top of their game. I feel like no one gave a poor performance. I think everyone acted well.
I think I 100% agree with that. But the only thing I would say is, so do you know the younger Chinese chap? The only one who looks a bit older than us?
You on about the son?
Yeah, the son. So you got the son, the father, and the grandson.
The grandfather.
Yeah. So you got the grandfather, and then the son, and then the grandson.
Yeah.
So the son, he is basically, his name's Andrew Koji.
Yeah.
And he's a British Chinese actor, as contradictory as that sounds. But he's like basically, I've seen him in a lot of things. He's in like a couple of episodes of Peaky Blinders as a Chinese gangster. And he's in one of my favourite TV shows called Warrior. And it's like, basically, he's the lead kung fu actor in it. And it's about like gangs in Chinatown and San Francisco. And he's great in that. And like in everything I've seen him in, apart from G.I. Joe, which, you know, that quick mention to G.I. Joe is a waste of time. But apart from like G.I. Joe, I've never seen him in anything bad. And like he's got like great martial arts skills, and I feel like they underutilise him in this.
Yeah, because he's just, not to say he's a corpse, but he's, you know, he is. He's just lying in bed.
No, not the kid. The actual, like, his dad, the kid's dad.
Well, you didn't. You confused everyone then, because you said the son, and you mean you actually mean the father.
Well, yeah, you are right, because technically, I suppose, like, his title card says the father, so I'm wrong there.
Yeah.
But you've got the grandson, which would be the
kid in the coma or whatever. So not the kid in the coma, but you actually mean the father that's on the train.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I got you now.
But he could have had so much more to do. I really liked the daughter.
Joey King.
Is that the girl's name, is it?
Yeah. She's actually called... Oh, what was the character? I literally had the princess.
Yeah, the princess, that's it.
Yeah.
I like her, as in, like, I don't like her. She plays like a really annoying bitch, princess, spoiled bitch.
Yeah, she's like a Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, she's like a Joffrey from Game of Thrones. That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
She's incredibly annoying, she is.
You'd love to hate her.
Yeah, definitely love to hate her. Like, you just want her to die throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
It's just her, like, arrogance. You're just like, oh, just piss off.
Yeah.
To be fair, there were a lot of moments I felt in this film, right? I mean, when I go and see films on my own in the cinema, I don't tend to laugh out loud. I might have, like, you know, like a loud nose exhale or something, or just like a quick, like, sort of thing. But I don't really sort of, like, burst it out laughing. But with this film, I full on burst out laughing at multiple points in the film. And I feel like that's the first time I've really done that. You know, I mean, if I'm with someone, that's a different story, because you sort of like laugh together, so it's less weird. But when you're on your own, you know, I feel a bit more reserved. But with this one, that sort of reservedness didn't exist. I was too in the film and too busy laughing at everything. And I think, you know, that's got to be something said for the film, because I've seen a lot of films, and not many films have got me to do that.
Really? So, but it's like, which bits did you like totally crease at? I'm trying to, because I'm not saying it wasn't funny. I'd say I found it amusing.
There was. I mean, it's been like a week and a half since I've seen it now, so trying to remember all the different funny bits. But I mean, just the Thomas the Tank Engine bits, and then why they're called Lemon and Tangerine, and There was some bits with
their bits, especially with the flashback.
Yeah.
When they're talking about one of the this is a very minor spoiler. Having a flashback of seeing how many people they've killed.
Yeah, that bit.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Again, that's what reminded me of Guy Ritchie. Was when he introduces characters and they have like a quick backstory about them or something like that to try and like.
Yeah, I'm not a big Guy Ritchie fan, but I do like that because that was one of my points from this film. Was I liked that everything that was mentioned had a little brief flashback sort of scene for it. Like everything had like a flashback scene for it, and it wasn't just like a film of flashbacks. Like there was a lot of present time footage. But it was just those little bits that just gave everything a bit more of like a bigger scope as such to make the world feel far more believable of all these different things that occurred in the past. Like I love the bit with the wolf.
Yeah.
That whole scene, the way that like everything, you really think that actually no, this is spoiler. I can't say anything, can I?
That's for what it's worth. I know exactly what you mean. And like this isn't reinventing the wheel, but it's a common thing to say. The rule is show don't tell, and that they do that a lot in this film, and it's really like it's to its credit.
Yeah.
If they do show something, it's for purpose. Like it's not just throwaway.
No, it's not. No. No, like everything has a purpose to the story, even if it's like a little tangent that you feel like is random. It cultivates to something. And the way it sort of reveals later on with the different people and it's hard to say without spoiling at this moment in time.
What I also liked as well, not like I expected this to be a murder mystery, and it's far from like an Agatha Christie or like as we've discussed in the past, Murder on the Orient Express. That's what I'm surprised they never, if it was me, I had like a spoof title of like Murder on the Orient Express instead of Bullet Train.
Yeah, Murders on the Bullet Train.
I don't know, like some jokes like that, but it's not overly convoluted. There's like twists and turns, and like not to its credit, it's not complicated, but it's not like incredibly like predictable.
Yeah,
I saw stuff coming. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's a good thing as well.
Yeah, because like we said, show don't tell. So they were showing us all these different avenues of things that could happen, such as the big teddy bear sort of thing that's on the train that tries to steal the briefcase, right? And then Brad Pitt just full on blammos it in the face and takes it back. That was one bit I absolutely creased at.
Yeah, I creased at actually. I quite like that.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. Did you recognise a particular actress as well?
I recognise the ZZ Beats, yeah.
I'm on about the one that's walking around with the food trolley.
Oh, Karen Fukuhara.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recognised her. I thought if it was me, I would have gave her a bigger role, like. But I quite like that she's just wedged into it.
So those who aren't familiar with who Karen Fukuhara is, she plays Kimiko in The Boys.
Yeah.
And she's my Hollywood crush at the moment. She was in Bullet Train, and like she was in it for like a little bit, but there's like a big title card that covers her, so you don't really quite see who she is. But there was a bit later on. It's actually a little bit in the trailer where Brad's fighting with Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and they ask for the water bottle, and there's that whole scene there. And she's speaking completely fluently in Japanese because, spoilers, that's her. I don't know if that's her. I mean, that's her mother tongue, but I don't know if that's her first language or not because I think she was born in America, but I'm not 100% sure. But she's completely fluent in both. And she's also got a YouTube channel that I stumbled across where she does like cooking stuff, like authentic Japanese food cooking. And she also does Q&As with some of the cast of The Boys.
Japanese carbonara, that one's nice.
Oh.
And the one with Erin Moriarty when she's making cocktails with her. Erin's like Starlight. That's promoting other people's content here, but yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, but she seems like an absolutely lovely person, and I think it's just I feel like her role could have been bigger. She could have ended up being an assassin or something like that because, let's face it, we know she's capable of doing those scenes. More than capable.
One of my favourite bits is like the bit you just mentioned, to be fair, on the train between Tangerine and Ladybug, like Brad Pitt and Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
It handles that really well. It handles like the comedy and action really well.
It's the pacing, isn't it?
Yeah, the pacing's done really well. It's like I'd even say it's probably like I haven't got the runtime on me. It's probably quite a long film, but it doesn't feel like that.
I think it's just shy of 2 hours, I think, or it's just over, but it's thereabouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that particular scene with the water ball, the sort of the pacing of it's very reminiscent of John Wick, I feel. I mean, spoilers, it's also directed by a stuntman, right? Which I've got something to say about that later on. But the pacing of it, where you've got the action, but then you've got like this just slow pace of sort of like, oh, we can't fight right now because we need to sort of act civilized, and we don't want this lady that's walking around with the trolley on the train giving out like the snacks and stuff. We don't want her to realize we're trying to beat the shit out of each other and potentially kill one another. So we sort of just have to act civilized. And you got those bits in John Wick when they go onto continental grounds, right? I like that huge pacing break of things, and then all of a sudden once they go back out onto like the normal grounds or whatever, or the lady with the trolley moves on, they continue the fight. So it's that little break, those sort of pauses and stuff that sort of keep the adrenaline there, but elongate the scene as such. I don't know if I explained that very well, but
no, but it gives it breathing room, and like it's also like when it's funny, like, and I don't know, it's just different, isn't it?
Yeah.
It breaks it up, but in a good way. It lets you think about it more.
Yeah, exactly.
And it does more storytelling for the characters.
Yeah, it does. You learn more about the characters in those little moments than you do in any other point, 100%. And as I was saying about the directing, I feel like stuntmen directors are like a big new change for cinema. I feel like it's sort of like a new era for cinema, and I'm all here for it. I mean, because Nolan's very big on his practical effects. You've got Tom Cruise that is basically his own stuntman. Then you've got the John Wick films, and then you've got this Bullet Train film, right, where you've got all stuntmen are more at the forefront of everything. I mean, you could argue Andy Serkis playing as Caesar. He's in a sense his own stuntman. He's studied, the behavior of the animals. Those sort of films where you're seeing sort of the realness are so much better than anything I can see in CG. All right, CG is meant to be a tool to enhance. It's not meant to create, in my opinion.
I feel like the John Wick films, what's made them so big is purely because they were like the stuntmen behind the Matrix.
Yeah.
And, say what you like, Matrix is one of the most influential like film trilogies for martial arts like ever done.
Well, not just martial arts, just for cinema. The scale of things that you can do.
Yeah, exactly. And like you can see like is it before and after like the Matrix. That's effective cinema.
Yeah, there's loads of those out now on like YouTube of like seeing the before with the green screens and how they do. What's the agent called?
Oh, Agent Smith.
Agent Smith, that's him. Yeah, like how they doubled him up, and then of course you got the bullet time bit where Keanu leans backwards and dodges the bullet, and shows it's all about there's 360 degrees of cameras, and they all take a picture at the same time, and it's the way the camera flicks around. You see all those things, and those methods are used in cinema now, but they're sort of back then that was like cutting technology, whereas now we take it for granted. And I feel with these sort of stuntmen coming in and doing the directing, you're feeling that rawness once more.
And I think like a general consensus when you watch and listen to interviews with like the cast, they say how much more of like it's more of an authentic process, and like they generally appreciate it more because these stuntmen, whether it will be the over the top like 80s callbacks like the Expendables, when it's Sylvester Stallone directing like the Expendables, or whether it be like Cody, Leitch and Bullet Train, the actors seem to be buzzing to be working with them because the directors are asking stuff and they're sympathising with their stuff they're asking you to do because they've done it themselves or done similar stuff.
Yeah.
So they're not asking you to do stuff which is like impossible to do or whatever. It's sequences which can be done or like have been done before, but in different ways or whatever. And it shows as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know, it just, as you say, it is a new era, and like a lot of these are good. Like, you know, I probably came off a bit too harsh on it, especially when I text you when you was like, "Oh, you love it," and I did like it, but I don't know. I think it's because I expected, because as I say, we like these stuntmen directors have a lot to live up to nowadays, and Brad Pitt was in it. But I think I definitely would recommend it, especially for like, you know, I saw it for a fiver in the cinemas down there.
I mean, even if Brad Pitt, as we said, even if Brad Pitt wasn't in it, right,
I'd still see it.
it's
Yeah.
still a worthwhile film, 100%.
Even if it was just some random unknown actor, I'd still definitely see it. If anything, you could have replaced it to Andrew Koji's character. As you say, I think he's actually called the father. He's like, he could have had the Brad Pitt character, but I feel like, as I discussed at the start, him being the goofy, charming guy is like half the film. Which
Yeah.
is good. I'm trying to think what other standout like characters are in it.
Well, there's some spoiler standout characters.
But yeah, I think we're going to spoilers now.
Yeah, we could. I say there's a lot to say in spoilers than there is out of spoilers.
For what it's worth, I'd definitely recommend it.
I would be tempted to see it again in the cinema.
I don't think I'd see it in the cinema again, but I'd definitely watch it if it on Now TV or whatever it comes out on next or Netflix. I'd definitely watch it again because it's a good, fun like action film. Do you know when sometimes people say like, I know the Yanks use like the popcorn like film like comparison. It's a great entertaining film. You can stick it on Friday night like and just have a ball of a time.
Yeah, it's. Did you watch it on your own?
Yeah.
It's a sort of film you go and see with your mates.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have a good laugh.
But no, to get into spoilers.
Yeah.
The actual weakest part of the film, and this isn't like a gripe as him as an actor, but because I've seen him in some good things, is Michael Shannon's accent really took me out of it.
Yeah.
And I say this full well knowing, number one, I appreciate you listening to my voice on this podcast if you're listening. And I have a terrible Brummy accent, and I find it hard as an actor to change my accent. So I fully appreciate that. And it's throwing stones in glass houses. But yeah, it generally took me out of it.
See, I actually didn't expect it to be Michael Shannon. I actually thought it was Mickey Rourke.
Honestly, I'm not just saying it because you're my good friend, but I said so. I exactly thought it was, purely because I'm 95% sure Mickey Rourke has like tattoos on his hands, and Mickey Rourke has long hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, the way the camera was panning out, I was like, that's Mickey Rourke, that is.
Yeah. I think they baited us.
I was like, that's definitely Mickey Rourke. I mean, it was Michael Shannon. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, literally that's jokes that we both had that same reaction.
It just really threw me out of it.
Yeah.
And although, like, obviously it leads up to you thinking a lot, tell me if you thought differently, that you think it's the granddad who was on the mask, who was the guy who took over. And it's like, and then it turns out obviously it's Michael Shannon, who's the White Death, not.
Oh no, I never thought it was the grandfather. I never thought that. I always thought the grandfather was out for redemption.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't think he was the. Is he called the White Mask or something?
The White Death.
The White Death. That's it.
So I thought the White Death was the grandfather. Then as it went on, I was like, no, that ain't like.
No. To be fair, one thing that did surprise me, I suppose I didn't look for it, but one thing that did surprise me was the princess was his daughter. I didn't expect that.
I would have liked if it wasn't his daughter.
Yeah, but I also like the interaction because obviously Logan Lerman, who plays his son, dies right at the beginning pretty much, which is kind of a waste of Logan Lerman if you're asking me, but anyway. But he dies right at the beginning, and then obviously we get a flashback of the beginning later on in the film, and she's his brother, she's his sister, should I say, and she sort of like says farewell or whatever, or you deserve this or something. I can't remember exactly what she says, but it's just that little interaction where it was like, she's literally just talking to her dead brother right now, and she's not even shedding a tear.
Yeah, she spits on him then as well.
That's it. She spits on him. That for me, well, she's on the train and she's trying to get this briefcase because she wants to kill her dad, and then she's got this whole elaborate plan set up, and then it finds out that it is his daughter. I quite like that sort of reveal as such because it wasn't forced. I didn't feel. I felt it was very natural. Whereas sometimes it can be like they play on it a bit too hard that it's his daughter that wants to kill him or whatever. Whereas this, it didn't feel like that was too forced at all. It wasn't like the only vendetta on the train.
Yeah, I'd say what I did like, and you like alluded to it a bit. I like the bait and switches with like characters getting introduced, and then they die like 10 minutes later. So obviously the main one is the wolf, and I quite like that. I quite liked like it introduced him to be this absolute badass.
Yeah,
And he looked cool as fuck, and then he gets wrecked like.
he basically kills himself.
Yeah, exactly. And I also quite like how like, Brad Pitt is doing it by not accident, but he just generally doesn't mean to.
Yeah, he's kind of doing like a Jackie Chan fighting style where he's using the stuff around him to just defend himself. He's not actually out to kill anyone. He's just trying to defend himself, and everyone's dying around him.
Yeah, it was almost like Jackie Chan Drunken Master stuff from like the late 70s. Like,
yeah,
I quite enjoyed that. Something like I sort of thought was quite predictable, and I feel like they've done it on purpose. So it's not like a detriment thing, but I loved it. Was Lemon, Brian Terry Henry, when he takes the sleeping pills or the sleeping powder,
from the water bottle.
From the water bottle, and you're like, oh, he's going to end up falling asleep when he's squaring up to this girl. I knew, like, he'd, like, because the whole film, like, he's saying, oh, he's good at reading people. And and I was like, he's not going to fall for a shit, that's going to be obvious. I was like, he's going to fall asleep as, like, the penny drops. And it does. And then what I really liked is how he's not dead.
Yeah, that was surprising, actually, because I was like, oh, I didn't expect him to kill him. But then when Aaron Taylor Johnson dies, I was like, oh shit, both twins are dead. And then they go back to the toilet and realise that Lemon's actually alive. And I was like, oh, that's heartbreaking. That's a bit shit, isn't it?
I'm not honestly not I'm not a big advocate for like spin-offs and like things like that. I think you should try and do as many like IPs and original. Like.
Yeah, because it ruins the original.
But at the same time, if they like started marketing one where it was like a prequel and it was like
Lemon and
Tangerine, I'd watch that.
Yeah, 100%. To be honest, I could see it working as a series.
I could see it working as like 100%, yeah. HBO or even just like a couple of just like 500,000 episodes or something.
Yeah, I think it needs to be like a limited series. I don't think it should run for like
a 6-episode thing, like or something. But now I thought that was great. But the only like a little niggly thing, and this is like a niggly thing, as I definitely like would recommend it. But like just we were saying how good it was to see some good fighting in it. I just expected more. What peed me off quite a bit is it was so predictable the train was going to crash, and then it just becomes a CGI fest.
Yeah, the train crashing was a little bit much, but I felt like that was the only direction the train was going to go.
That's what I mean. I just feel like because it was a film set on a train, it had to crash. I think it would have been really good if, and I know it's called Bullet Train, it's the majority of films set on a train, but it would have been good if the final set piece was just on the train platform, or even just on the cabins. Would have just stayed on the cabins and just not crashed.
Yeah, they finally pull up to Tokyo, and then they get off, and then that's when shit hits the fan. And the train disappears without them or something.
Exactly.
To be fair, that's another thing. I actually really liked the 1-minute intervals for every station.
I liked that. I thought that was done well.
I don't know if that is a real thing. I feel like it makes sense, especially in Japan, because they're very strict.
Yeah, I feel like they're very strict, and like that's how a bullet train would work. I feel like that's more quick.
But the way they use that in the film for plot points, and the way that Brad uses it, and Tangerine uses it, where they're doing the countdowns, and then they're like, 3, 2, 1, and then they jump back on and then fuck off on the train. I really like that.
What bit I found quite amusing, you said you lolled throughout the film, type of thing, is when Lemon's using him as a puppet.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
that
through the
was great.
window.
I quite enjoyed that. But what I didn't see coming was Aaron Taylor Johnson coming back on the train
Yeah, after you boots him off.
after he boots him off, like just full on yeets him off.
Yeah, and then he starts smashing the shit out the back window. That was a little unbelievable, but at the same time, I was enjoying the film, so I was just going with it.
You just go with the flow, don't you?
Yeah.
The fight scenes are entertaining. What I feel like it suffered from a little bit. I don't know whether this is because I'm trying to be quite edgy and cool or whatever. Is it should have been an 18 because I feel like it wasn't.
Yeah, I think it was a 15 or a 16, whichever one it was.
If it was 18, could have been more brutal and therefore like leaned into its audience with even like more gross stuff or like.
I think it needed that sort of that Tarantino little blood bit. Then it needed that sort of grotesque.
If you're kicking fuck out of someone, you want to see him bleed, like, or whatever.
Yeah.
And these, I'm pretty sure there's bits in it. They're playing around and then they're moving people. They're like someone's head or arm gets chopped off, but you don't see it. But you do see it. It's just it's off camera or whatever.
Yeah.
I like Easy Beats is you say about the big head, the big person who tried to take the suitcase, the Venom woman.
Yeah.
She's gold. I like how she's only in it for a little bit as well, but she has like a little stand-up scene.
Yeah, she does. You actually don't forget her scene, to be fair. I like the whole Venom bit as well. Like the whole using the snake, like you see the snake on the TV to begin with, that the snake's gone missing or something, or stolen or whatever it is, and then you're like, part of you is like, well, that's got to come in at some point in the film, because why else would they have shown that on the newsreel? And then next thing we know, there's a snake on the train, and then someone's bleeding from their eyes, and you're realizing why, and all the pennies start dropping. Like you said, it's a bit like a Who's Done It, but it's not exactly. But I like how the film evolved in that direction. It was a very sort of linear sort of story with the way it was going forward with everything, and you're picking up all on the clues yourself as well as everyone else is picking up on the clues, and you're trying to figure out who you can trust and who you can't trust. And then you get these little flashbacks every now and again. It just all adds together to create like a really nice sort of comprehensive film.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just very smart editing to me.
Yeah, it doesn't dance around with like mad timelines or anything like that. The way it puts the characters on display is gold, and more so the way it introduces them.
Yeah, exactly. How long did it take you to figure out who the voice was on the phone?
I reckon I knew it was Sandra Bullock straight away.
Did you?
Yeah, I knew it was Sandra Bullock straight away. I recognised her voice.
See, I didn't recognise her voice straight away, but I was like, I know the voice. I think it wasn't until the second call he had with her where I was like, oh, it's Sandy Bullock.
But I didn't know whether it was going to be right at the end or like three quarters of the way through and she'd help him out or whatever. Or whether it'll be played for laughs that she's an absolute badass and he's quite clumsy or something like that.
Yeah, to be fair, I was like, either we won't see her and she's just the voice on the phone, or if we do see her, it will be like right at the end. And when that car pulled up right at the end, immediately I was like, it's Sandy Bullock. There's no one else it could be. But then, what did you think of Tatum? Channing Tatum?
That's probably. Oh, is that when you were saying about the spoiler for a random character? Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
No, I'm on about another character.
I thought that was gold. I thought it was really quite seamless.
Yeah, it didn't sort of take out the film. What it did remind me of, though, is that Channing and Sandy recently did a film called The Lost City, and guess who was also in it? Brad Pitt. So I feel like this is sort of a situation where they were filming it at the same time, and they were like, do you want to be in this film?
I haven't watched Lost City.
No, I haven't seen it either. I reckon it could be a decent laugh, but I don't. For me, it wasn't one I wanted to necessarily see in the cinema.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I concur. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought it was quite interesting having them both in it.
I think that cameo was a lot better than the Royal Reynolds one. The Royal Reynolds one just made me sore.
Yeah. So the big reveal basically is they're all trying to kill Brad Pitt because of who Brad Pitt is covering for. So is he called Carver?
Carver, that's it.
Carver. Basically, he's covering for a guy called Carver, right? And everyone's trying to kill him, thinking he's Carver, right? And then right at the end, we realise that Carver is, the guy that's fucked everything up for everyone. And we get a flashback or a reveal of Carver, who is Ryan Reynolds. And you kind of like, but at the same time, you're like,
My biggest problem with Ryan Reynolds, and this sounds like I objectively really hate the guy and I want to like batter him, but is that he's just so good at being Ryan Reynolds. He only ever is just Ryan Reynolds in any film.
I do agree with that. I think he's an absolutely lovely bloke, like absolutely outstanding fella.
He seems charming and it seems great, don't get me wrong, but like he's just Ryan Reynolds in everything.
Yeah.
The only film I currently want to watch of his, which I haven't watched, is The Adam Project.
See, I've watched that on Netflix. I actually really enjoyed that film, to be fair. It actually made me cry.
Is it?
Yeah.
But no, the Channing Tatum cameo I really enjoyed, and I thought that was like Randy Orton, that was out of nowhere, but in a good way.
Mm.
And that made me crease. But that one, I don't know, I just thought it was a bit predictable or whatever.
Yeah, I do think it was not the reveal so much. I feel like the reveal of it being Ryan Reynolds was a bit of a
being Ryan Reynolds was very predictable.
Yeah, a bit predictable, but the actual reveal itself of everyone's after Carter and not Brad Pitt. I liked that. I thought that was an interesting change. Because again, it wasn't something I was necessarily looking for. It was something that just sort of happens. And you're like, oh shit, yeah, I completely forgot all this talk about this Carver guy. And you're like, oh, now everything makes sense.
Yeah. I'd definitely recommend it. It's fun. It's quite an entertaining film. As I say, the action scenes in it are not so much like the mega intricate, sorry. Well, if I could say, especially on a podcast. Is intricate, there we are.
Yeah.
But what they are is funny or like weird and quite entertaining. Is just as they are like brutal. As I said, they could have been more being brutal, but what they make up for is that it's jokes and weird. And it's just a fun film.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a film 100% everyone had fun making it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some interviews and stuff since. I don't like watching anything before I see the film, but I don't mind watching things after the film, just so I don't like adjust my judgment or hype my expectations or anything before seeing it. But afterwards, it doesn't matter then. But it just every interview, whatever they do, they're just constantly laughing and joking around with each other. So I feel like everyone really got on.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of interviews where it's been like, I think it was the BBC Radio 1 one with the Ali Plum guy.
Yeah, I think that's one I watched. Yeah,
that was like Lemon and Tangerine and Ladybug, so Brad Pitt and that one's pretty jokes.
Yeah, it's so funny. And I've seen one with doing like British slang versus American slang, and
as I say, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Bright Henry, are probably my favourite takeaways from it.
And, I struggle with Aaron's name because I always want Hot Fuzz, and he goes Aaron A. Aronson.
Yeah.
Right, I always think that's Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's just Aaron A. Aronson. It's so messes in my head so many times. So now I just assume Aaron A. Aronson is Aaron Taylor Johnson. They're both the same person to me.
To keep with the Oriental theme per se with Japan, my moment of the week is I brought.
Oh, hold on. We got to professionally say, and now we're going into moment of the week.
Now we are going into moment of the week. I bought the PlayStation game Sifu, which I think in Chinese I think it translates to Grandmaster or Master, and it's a kung fu fighting game.
Chinese or Japanese?
I think it's Chinese.
All right, you did just say Japanese.
Well, it's Oriental, I said, so Japanese and Chinese. I suppose it covers both bases. It's a great game. It's it's different. It's totally different to, like, I know last week we covered Horizon. Like, it's totally different to any RPG. It's not an RPG, but like people have compared it to like the roguelike type of thing where you have to start again, but you don't like start again. It's like if you unlock skills, we have to unlock them 5 times to permanently unlock them.
Yeah.
And the fighting's like really fun and satisfying, but it's so hard. So I've had it for like 2 weeks, and it's only really been the only game I've been playing, and I haven't completed it. And you think, oh, 2 weeks complete a game, that's like, yeah, that's not what you want anyway, like. But there's only 5 levels, but it's just hard. And like when you replay a level, and if you like replay the level, you can have shortcuts. If you go through the shortcut, it'll get you to the boss quicker. But if you've got to the boss quicker, you've then missed out on XP. You need XP to unlock skills. But you also want to, like, the main thing is your character is off to revenge to try and kill these, like, people who killed your dad. But every time you die, you can come straight back to life. And when that happens, you come straight back to life, you sacrifice years off your life. So the older you get, you become a glass cannon. So you do a lot more damage, but you use less. You have a smaller health bar, and you can unlock it. You have less skills. So like certain skills you can only have when you're in your 20s, which are really good. Which makes sense really, I suppose. Technically in your 20s and 30s you're meant to be at your peak. But it's cool, it's fascinating. Like, so I'm like on level 4 out of 5, but I can't kill the boss at the moment on level 4. But I'm trying to kill the level 3 boss under the age of 40. So when I go to level 5, I've got quite a few levels to go through and not die like.
Yeah.
It's the combat's incredibly satisfying and fluid. It's also just like really fun and weird. Like you can pick up weapons, and mostly just like Wing Chun martial art, like that branch of Kung Fu. It's so quick, and like you can like you have different skills. Like some of them's just like a charge back fist. Then you can have ones like snap kicks, and like one's called environmental mastery. And we mentioned Jackie Chan earlier on. And you're just using loads of weapons around, like loads of stuff on your environment. So one of them is you just press R1 and you just fling a cushion at somebody's feet, and they'll trip over it, and you can just get on the floor and then punch them then. Or you can just grab a baseball bat and go to town with them. That there's one mission or like a level in a museum. And there's this museum trying to be just like an art concept, and there's loads of lighting bulbs down, like dangling off the ceiling. And if you just smash R1, you can just throw them at somebody and just kill them like that. But you don't discover that on your first go. And you're like, oh, it's quite a hard enemy. And if you just discover that on your second go, you can just blitz through it. It's definitely an interesting game. Like, you rather love it or you hate it though.
Yeah, I'm not big on the sort of like fighting games like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that, or Injustice.
It's weird though, because it's not like
it's not like those necessarily. Yeah,
still has to, if you learn combos, like it's like that. It's not like it's a sweaty beat 'em up like that, like a 2D fighter. Yeah, I'd more say it's an action beat 'em up.
Yeah.
But as you say, if you don't want to learn combos and you don't want to get like sweaty into it, you'll have a bad time.
Yeah, that's where I struggle, because it's like you got to learn all those combos, so they require a lot of time and effort, and sometimes you just want to play a game and just hit the same button every time. You don't want to have to press every different button.
But no, I'd definitely recommend it, especially if you. I haven't played any of the Dark Souls games. Like I think I only played like 3 on like when my friend had a copy of it, and they get like praise for being so hard, but like satisfying when you complete a level or kill a boss. But it's that similar feeling for Sifu. But no, I'd definitely recommend that. I've really enjoyed playing that. So hopefully I might complete it this week. But again, as I say, you have to play through it a lot.
Got a lot of replayability, yeah.
It's grindy, but in a good way.
My moment of the week is not necessarily screen-based. So we're currently in the summer, and for the past 2 weekends, I've I've ventured outside. I've seen what's going on in the world outside. So a couple of weekends ago, I was down Mikey's and we went out on a boat on the ocean. And then weekend just gone, I went out on a stand-up paddle board out on the ocean as well. And I have absolutely been loving life. I've been sunning it up, floating around on the ocean. And I'll tell you what, it has been the best time ever. I have literally been vibing so much. I've been high on life. I've been absolutely loving it. And I think it's just a reminder, as much as we talk about, games, TV shows and films, and, that's all indoor stuff and you're staring at a screen. It is important to still, try and get yourself outside and enjoy the sun and spend time with friends and all that stuff as well. So as much as, we all want to be inside and enjoy what entertainment there is to offer, get outside and enjoy yourself, because you can have a hell of a time. That's my moment of the week. It's a weird one, but yeah, that it is. It's I've been loving it.
I'm glad you left the house for starters, but it was good. I'm glad when you came down, we really enjoyed that. And to be fair, it was baking and we was on a lovely beach, but it was just it was funny just going out on the boat I've got. So that was jokes.
I mean, the story behind it all as well is hilarious. We had a lot of problems trying to blow that boat up.
We had a lot of problems trying to blow it up. I nearly fell over. Kieran's recently recovered from COVID, and there's me thinking I was worrying about he's going to be blowing out his hoop trying to paddle, and my air compressor I use for the pumping up my tires of the car. We're using that to blow it's basically like a posh dinghy type of thing, just a big decent dinghy. So that broke, and I was we're going to buy a pump from the beach shop. And Kieran rang me when I was in the queue, and he said, "I've done it." I was like, "What do you mean you've done it?" So I just blew all my actual lungs, and just blew it off by getting off of it. So I was impressed with that. So that was jokes.
Yeah. We're out on the water, and we're floating on COVID right now.
and we're just baking in the sun.
Yeah, it was absolute good times.
It was jokes, and also don't underestimate the current.
Yeah, we got ourselves a little anchor down as well, just to make sure we didn't disappear. I've got a great photo of Mikey walking around, because we wrapped some rope around the boat and we wrapped some rope around a rock, and I've got a great photo of Mikey walking with the rock deeper into the ocean so we can move the boat further into the ocean, and he's walking with this rock with the rope around it. It looks like he's about to send himself to the depths. It's so funny.
It looks like he's committing suicide, to be fair, but it's all fun and games. But no, that was a good laugh. And yeah, it's Kieran, not like we're preaching anybody to do whatever with their life, but Kieran's hit nail on the head. As much as we love screens, and this is a ScreenHour podcast, and we are a good advocate for them, and that's all we talk about on here, this podcast. But yeah, enjoy the summer as well, for God's sake, because it'll be winter again soon, and you probably won't have enough. I don't want to speak for anybody again, but you might not have enough money to use your screen if you're paying your heating bills. Yeah. Enjoy the summer while it's here, and have a good laugh. Get out there. Not necessarily have to catch some waves or go in the mountains. Just go to a park or do whatever.
Yeah, just go out in the garden.
Go out in the garden. If you ain't got a garden, go running on the street and go to park. But no, thank you for listening.
Yeah, and we hope you should check out Bullet Train. It is a brilliant film. It is a good time. It is a very good, entertaining time, and I can't say you'd regret it. So yeah, there's my penny's worth. Yeah, I'd recommend it. It's a fun film. So entertaining. Well, look after yourselves. Yeah, and we will catch you in the next episode. Catch you in the next one. See you then. Bye.